Exposed, how a billionaire discovered incredible happiness through an unexpected smile and heart. Tom Reynolds could see everything from the penthouse, but he felt nothing. The city spread below him like a glittering paradise, alive with energy, laughter, and hope, yet he huddled alone in the high-rise, drowning in his isolation. At 48, Tom had transformed himself from a struggling kid with dreams into a self-made billionaire. The price of success was loneliness and emptiness that gnawed at his heart. Each sleek office and lavish boardroom only amplified the void. He longed for the warmth of connection, the laughter of friends, the simple joy of community. On the night of a roaring storm, a flash of lightning illuminated his phone screen. It was Mary, his childhood friend, her voice breaking through the static of his silence. "Tom. The bakery, it's flooded. We're ruined. Please, I need your help." Her voice, usually joyful, held an edge of desperation. It struck him hard, like a crack of thunder. Memories flooded back, sifting through flour at the bakery, the smell of sweet pastries, the live joy of their neighborhood. In that moment, he saw past his towering success. He saw a community struggling, a friend in need. He hesitated. Could he face the messy realities he had long ignored? Tom's luxurious life had built walls around him, keeping out the very people he once held dear. But those memories of laughter and dreams tugged at him. He agreed to help Mary rebuild, a flicker of warmth igniting a heart long entombed in ambition. As he stepped back into that world, the sense of fresh bread and warm coffee filled his senses, drawing him in. "Tom. You came." Mary's tears of gratitude glistened like rain on glass. The bakery was more than a business, it was a lifeline. Customers poured in, families and kids clutching dollar bills, laughter and chatter bringing life to the cozy space. Tom felt himself tearing up, a tightness in his chest. These were his people, the stories, the shared troubles, the unyielding hope that filled every corner of that small business. Just as he began to feel a sense of belonging again, news broke, a scandal that could shatter everything. Whispers turned to shouts, tarnishing not just his reputation but the trust of the community he had started to embrace. The billionaire was painted as a heartless tycoon, detached and oblivious to the plight of the very people who once loved him. Every smile he earned was drowned under the weight of betrayal. The threat loomed large, flickering over him like the lightning outside. "Tom, are you okay?" Mary asked, her concern piercing through the storm of his thoughts. He stood there, torn between safeguarding his status or standing up for the people he had started to reconnect with. The storm outside mirrored his inner turmoil, rage against injustice brewing within. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Standing in the bakery, fraught with emotion, Tom faced a deep, piercing question: could one man's courage to stand for what was right alter the course of the past? As rain fell in sheets outside, Tom realized he was on the precipice of something monumental, not just for himself, but for the community he had neglected for so long. Would he brave the storm within and out, or watch as everything he cherished slipped away, lost forever? Tom took a deep breath, the familiar sense enveloping him, anchoring him to this moment. The jubilant chatter and laughter were a stark contrast to the somber weight pressing down on him. He looked around at the patrons who had formed an unbreakable bond with Mary and her bakery. This wasn't just flour and sugar, this was heart and soul, and he couldn't let it crumble. "Mary," he said, his voice steadying. "We need to gather everyone. If something is coming our way, we should stand together. I won't let this affect you or this place." Her eyes widened, shocked yet hopeful. "But what can we do? They're painting you as a villain. The papers, the social media, it's everywhere. We can show them who I really am." Let us turn this moment into something powerful. We can rally support. Reconnect with our community, share our story. Tom felt a surge of determination. The people needed to know that behind the billionaire facade was a man who cared. A man ready to fight for what mattered most. The next morning, Tom stood outside the bakery, drenched in the golden light of dawn. A crowd had gathered, curious faces whispering among themselves. He glanced at Mary, who was behind the counter trying to keep her composure. When I talk, remember this is about us. They need to see our strength. The tension in the air was palpable. Tom stepped forward, heart racing, and raised his hand. Thank you all for coming. I know you've seen the headlines, and I don't blame you for believing them. But this isn't about me. It's about us, the spirit of this community, the laughter we share, the hard work Mary puts in every day. Have you ever walked in here and felt like a family? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. This bakery isn't just a business. It's a home for so many of us. And I'm here today to say I won't abandon you. Together we can show that our community is more than a scandal. We are resilience and hope. As he spoke, the crowd began to respond. The tide shifted, hearts connected through shared stories of their love for that bakery and what it meant to all of them. Tom could feel the walls he had built around himself slowly crumbling. It was scary yet liberating, a rush of adrenaline he hadn't felt in years. They mattered. This community mattered. The applause that erupted felt like warmth wrapping around him, and it was a sound he didn't want to fade, but just as confidence surged, the air grew tense again. A shadow loomed over them. A group of reporters had appeared, cameras flashing, eager for another angle on the story. Tom! Can we get a statement? One shouted. The clamor escalated, drowning out the jovial atmosphere that had begun to flourish. The journalists were here, seeking drama, ready to twist the narrative once more. Tom's heart sank. What if they didn't listen? What if his efforts fell flat against the power of sensational headlines? Mary squeezed his arm, her voice steady in his ear. You can do this, Tom. Just speak from your heart. He looked into the crowd, the faces illuminated with kindness, and took a step toward the reporters. You want a statement? Fine. Let me tell you about this bakery, a place of love, laughter, and community spirit that the world can't afford to ignore. The faintest hint of courage ignited within him as he prepared to share the truth. Would they hear him? Or would this moment, too, slip through his fingers like a fleeting dream? The next few seconds could change everything. Would bravery prevail, or would the storm wash away all hope yet again? Tom stood tall, the hot breath of the summer sun warming his back, though inside he felt a chill. The reporters were closing in, their cameras like hawks, ready to prey on any slip of the tongue. Let me tell you what this bakery means to me, he began, his voice steadier than he felt. When I came here, it wasn't just for the pastries, though those cinnamon rolls are life-changing. It was about the connections. The moments shared over coffee and scones. The crowd remained silent, hanging on his every word. They were there, united in the warmth of the bakery, pushing back against the chaotic noise outside. I've spent so long building this facade, keeping people out. But this place has opened my heart in ways I never expected, he continued, glancing at Mary, whose eyes shone with pride and encouragement. It's about the laughter, the late nights baking with Mary, and the kids who stop by for just a cookie. It's family, and it's time I showed how much that matters to me. A hand shot up from the crowd. What do you mean, how much it matters? You've been living a life of privilege. The reporter challenged, the skepticism clear in her voice. A rush of anger flared up in Tom. It was raw and vicious, but beneath it was sincerity. There's more to life than just money. I've learned the true value of community here. How the smallest acts can create ripples of change. Another reporter yelled, what about your past? How do we know you're not just using this to save face? Because it's not about me. It's about this bakery. About Mary. We've created something beautiful here, and I refuse to let it shatter at the slightest threat. There was a fierceness in his voice now. The crowd stirred, inspired by the mounting passion behind his words. Tom's heart raced wildly, filled with newfound courage he never knew he could muster. He knew they could see his sincerity. It was there, offered like a gift wrapped tightly in everything he had felt in these past few days. I won't back down. We have something special here, and I believe together, we can confront whatever lies ahead. But I need you, all of you. The murmurs turned into a wave of affirmation, voices rising in a chorus of unity. Together. They echoed. The energy surged, filling the air with hope, the murmurs a steady heartbeat of community pride. Mary stepped forward, clasping her hands. Tom is right. This bakery has brought us together. We can't allow anyone to tear us apart. Her voice resonated with strength, her presence grounding the swarm of emotions swirling around them, but before Tom could respond, flashes erupted from the cameras, drowning him out. He's just trying to save his image. One shouted, trying to undercut the moment. The reporters were like vultures, circling the fragile hope they had all built. As Tom prepared to refocus the crowd's attention, a kid in the front called out, his voice small but fierce, "Tom, we believe in you. Don't let them take this away." That simple statement hit hard. Tom felt an overwhelming rush of gratitude and responsibility. The fear of failure gnawed at him. The kids believed in him. They had hope. For the first time in a long while, he understood the weight of what he needed to protect. Tom strived to keep the momentum going. This is our moment to shine. Let us not let their negativity drown us. But the noise of dissent was growing louder, drowning out the voices of support. What would happen if they began to twist his words again? He took a deep breath, heart racing, determination stealing within him. He turned back to the crowd, ready to fight not just for himself, but for each person standing beside him in this moment. "I'm not going anywhere." As he spoke, he caught a glimpse of Mary's smile, bright and full of faith. This fight wasn't just his, it was theirs to win. The question loomed larger than life: could they rise together against the tempest that was about to hit? And as the reporters eagerly scrambled for sensationalism, Tom realized the real battle was just beginning. Tom could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him, a mix of hope and anxiety swirling around like the summer heat. The crowd was still bustling with energy, their eyes locked onto him, but the reporters' jeers cut through the air, sharp and relentless. He clenched his fists, ready to fight back. "Listen," he called out, raising his voice. "I understand your doubts. Trust me, I've faced them every single day. But this bakery isn't just a storefront, it's my lifeline." The crowd gasped at his admission. Tom could see some nodding, others leaning in closer. Maybe they felt it too, maybe they were drowning in their own fears. "Every muffin, every loaf of bread they've contained my struggles, my dreams, and the lessons I'm learning. This place has shown me that happiness grows when you nurture it together. It's not just about me, or the past that I hide from. It's about how we lift each other up." A murmur rippled through the crowd, soft whispers of understanding ripening in the warm afternoon. The longer he spoke, the more the energy shifted. "Hey, kid." Tom pointed to the boy who had called out before. "What's your name?" "Lucas." The boy answered, his voice bursting with excitement. "Lucas. I want you to imagine what this place means to you. You see your friends here. You see Mary behind the counter. This bakery brought us together, right? Would you let a few bad comments take that away?" Lucas shook his head vehemently. "No way." There was a ripple of laughter, the crowd momentarily breaking the tension. Tom smiled, feeding off the lightness. "Exactly. You're full of hope. That's the spirit that can't be broken." He turned to the reporters, fire in his eyes. "They want to portray this as a downfall, but I see a community rising. This bakery is about you all. Don't let anyone take that away." Just then, Mary stepped beside him, her presence a sturdy anchor. Tom's right. It's about the love we share. The laughter, the support. But it's also about standing firm, side by side in tough times. A woman from the back shouted, "What if it's too late? What if we can't compete with their lies?" Tom felt that familiar knot tighten. Were they right to worry? Was the storm brewing too strong? It's never too late. He shouted back, each word a drumbeat of determination. I refuse to buckle under pressure. We are stronger together. Together, we create our own story. We can face whatever comes, but it takes all of us to push back. The crowd began to chant, together. Together. Their voices rose, a cacophony of hope washing over the doubt. But just as their energy peaked, the lead reporter leapt forward, eyes aglow with triumph. So, are you admitting you need help? That the bakery is failing? That question hung in the air, cutting straight through the excitement like a knife. Sweat dripped down Tom's brow, the truth clawing at him. He glanced at Mary, then back to the crowd, people who trusted him, who had shared moments of sweetness and adversity. Yes. Yes, I need help, but not just mine, he said, his heart thumping in his chest. We all need each other. This bakery is failing only if we give up on it. A breathless silence followed. Then, slowly, someone in the back yelled, "We won't give up." That seemed to ignite a wildfire. The chant grew again, "We won't give up. We won't give up." As the voices soared, Tom's heart raced with a mix of fear and exhilaration. He had opened himself up. He knew what it felt like to be truly exposed. But what if that honesty became his greatest strength? The crowd felt his vulnerability, wrapped it tight in their own fears and hopes. Just then, a flash of movement caught his eye. A figure emerged from the side older, with graying hair and a heavy coat. The crowd parted, eyes drawn to the newcomer. And suddenly, Tom felt a swell of panic rise within him. What did they want? Did they bring more trouble with them? Tom's heartbeat drummed a frenzied rhythm, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the battle was shifting again, this time, into uncharted territory. What did this stranger intend, and would they stand together against whatever storm loomed ahead? The figure stepped into the sunlight, revealing a face lined with years but illuminated by a soft smile. The crowd shifted, curiosity mingling with unease as they anticipated the stranger's next move. Tom felt his skin prickle under the weight of eyes now glued to this newcomer. "Everyone, please." The figure called out, voice calm yet firm. "I'm not here to cause trouble." He paused, looking around, gathering himself before continuing. "My name is Arthur, and I've been watching this bakery thrive from afar. I see something special here. What do you want?" One of the reporters shouted, eyebrows raised. "What's your angle?" Arthur chuckled lightly. "How about a moment of honesty? I'm not after a story. I've been lost in my own way for far too long. I'm just a man who once had everything but so little happiness." His gaze landed on Tom, piercing and sincere. "When I saw how you poured your heart into this bakery, it struck a chord." Tom frowned, unsure whether to feel uneasy or intrigued. "So, you're saying you're a customer now, or?" "I want to help," Arthur continued, stepping closer. "The world can often feel heavy with expectations. I've learned that sometimes, we need to share our burdens to make them lighter. Let me help you find solutions, not just for the bakery, but to rejuvenate this community." A ripple of chatter spread through the crowd. Thoughts raced through Tom's mind. Could he trust this man? Would accepting help from someone like Arthur compromise everything he fought for? "Is that really what you want?" Tom asked, measuring his words. "To help. Because we've built something here, and it means everything to us." "Exactly," Arthur replied, nodding vigorously. "Help you find creative ways to draw people in. I didn't just come here for the bakery, I came here for you. For all of you. His gaze swept over the crowd, gathering support like a fisherman casting a net. What I've noticed is that in trying to get everything back, people often forget to come together. It's not just about bread and sugar, it's about connection. Tom looked out over the audience. He saw their faces unease mixed with glimmers of curiosity and hope. Something stirred in the depths of his heart. But why do you care? He pressed, still on guard. Because I met a woman who told me, happiness is often found in the simplest things, like a smile over a shared loaf of bread. I saw what you built and realized how much I longed for a piece of that feeling. Arthur's voice seemed to soften, resonating with the crowd as if it were a shared secret. We can rise together. All I'm asking for is a chance to be part of that journey. A moment of silence enveloped them, and Tom felt the tension shift around him. Could this be the lifeline they'd been searching for? Mary took a step forward, eyes bright. What if we tried this together? We could harness what you know, but we'll steer the ship. We know this community better than anyone. Tom caught a glimmer of hope, he saw it reflected in the faces of his friends and neighbors. Okay, let us talk, he finally said, feeling the weight of decision lift. But this still needs to be our story. As Arthur smiled, the crowd erupted in cheers. Their voices bounced off the bakery walls, igniting renewed energy. There was laughter, claps, and agreements filling the air, but amidst the celebration, a nagging thought tugged at Tom's mind. Was he opening the door to salvation or rolling the dice on vulnerability? Just then, a sharp voice broke through the excitement. This won't end well. Trusting a billionaire is playing with fire. All eyes turned again, tension creeping back into the moment. What other shadows lay hidden behind Arthur's intentions? Tom felt his heart race again. What had he just opened himself up to? Tom stood there, a cascade of emotions washing over him. The cheers around him faded into a dull hum as he focused on the sharp voice cutting through the air. It was Greg, one of the old-timers from the community, a man who didn't trust easily. The change in the crowd was palpable. Frowns replaced smiles, and murmurs floated like dark clouds blocking out the sun. I'm just saying what everyone's thinking, Greg pressed, his eyes darting between Tom and Arthur. You really think this guy has your interests at heart? He has probably got a plan that doesn't include any of you. Enough. Tom's voice rose above the chatter. He felt a surge of fire. Was it anger, or was it the desperate need to protect everything he had built? We can't just shut down the opportunity without hearing him out. Greg folded his arms, his expression unyielding. And then what? We gamble on a stranger's good intentions. This town deserves better than to get played for a fool. Arthur, sensing the tension, stepped in. I understand your concern, Greg. But I assure you, I'm not here to exploit anyone. What I'm offering is a partnership, built on trust. You think I'm a billionaire? Is that all that defines me? The crowd wavered, caught between doubt and the hope stirred by Arthur's earlier words. Tom felt the weight of his responsibility. The bakery had flourished because it was built on community, connection, and love. But the grit was fading under the strain of survival. Could this be the boost they needed? I get that trust is hard, Tom said, staring at Arthur. But if we're going to do this, I need something real from you. Show us what you can do before we dive in. Arthur nodded, a deep understanding flashing in his eyes. Fair enough. Let us create something that embodies your spirit while bringing new people here. I want to help put smiles on faces, not just make money. Tom turned back to his neighbors, searching for support. He saw Mary and a few others nodding, considering the prospect. But doubt still hung in the air like a storm cloud, and Tom felt the pressure to be the leader they needed. Let us hold a community meeting, Mary suggested, her enthusiasm bubbling up through the tension. Everyone should have a say. We can lay it all out, ask the hard questions. If he can back up his promises, then we're on the right path. A quiet murmur of agreement spread through the crowd, a cautious pulse beginning to beat again. Tom glanced at Arthur, whose gaze was steady and sincere. The man seemed entirely focused on winning their trust, as if he were laying his own heart bare. "Okay, then. We'll schedule the meeting," Tom said, finally taking a deep breath. "But I want you all to think about what we stand to gain and what we risk. Keeping this community together means everything to me." As the crowd began to disperse, the energy was charged with optimism, though Tom's stomach churned with uncertainty. He felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, peering into the dark unknown, but Arthur remained, his expression steady. "You're doing the right thing, Tom. I promise I won't let you down." As they locked eyes, a flicker of hope ignited, but the echo of Greg's warning loomed large in Tom's mind. What if Arthur was right, but what if the truth cut deeper than acceptance? That evening, Tom's thoughts wrestled with his fears. Would the community embrace the change Arthur offered, or would it shatter the delicate fabric they had woven over the years? Days later, as they gathered for the meeting, an unexpected storm rolled in, the sky breaking wide open, echoing Tom's uncertainty. Would this encounter lead them to a brighter future, or was their fate already sealed by the winds of change? A sudden knock on the bakery door interrupted his thoughts. Who could that be at this hour? He wondered aloud, glancing up just as the door creaked open. Tom froze as the door swung wide open. A gust of wind swept in, swirling the scent of rain and fresh bread around the room. He squinted against the sudden dim light and saw a small figure just beyond the threshold, soaked but smiling. "Jessie!" he exclaimed, recognizing the young girl who often popped in to sneak a cookie or two. She was drenched, her wispy hair sticking to her forehead, but her eyes sparkled with an energy that could light up the darkest days. "What are you doing out here in this storm? I couldn't find you at home, so I came here." She shouted over the pounding rain, her voice a muffled cheer. "I heard you're having a meeting. I wanted to tell you I think change could be good." Tom's heart warmed. Jessie always had a way of seeing the bright side, even in the toughest situations. "That's great to hear," he smiled, stepping forward to help her inside. "But you should really be careful in this weather." Just then, the bakery door slammed shut behind her, and the comforting warmth engulfed them both. Tom's gaze shifted outside, watching raindrops race one another down the window. There was so much uncertainty ahead, yet here stood Jessie, a little ray of hope. As he toweled her hair dry, a thought sparked in him. "Why do you think change is good?" "Because new things can be fun," she replied enthusiastically, her small hands flailing for emphasis. "Like when you started making those special flavored cookies. Everyone loved it. It made them happy. Maybe Mr. Arthur will make more happy things happen." Tom chuckled. "You might be right about that. But sometimes grown-ups forget that. They get worried and think too much." Jessie considered this, her face scrunching in thought. "That's silly. If they just listened to you and saw the smiles you make, they'd see it's worth it even if it feels scary." Her innocent perspective struck a chord. Maybe he did need to remember the joy that came with embracing change. Seeing it through her eyes revealed something essential about community and connection. Tom ruffled her hair, a renewed sense of resolve forming within him. "Okay, let us make our own plan," he said with a newfound determination. "We need to show them how good change can be. What do you think? Let us make a cookie special for the meeting today." Jessie beamed. "Something that'll make everyone smile so they can see it's a good idea." "Brilliant idea." Tom grinned. Together, they rushed into the kitchen, their laughter mixing with the sound of the storm outside as they prepared a tray of vibrant, colorful cookies. Each cookie became a representation of possibility, a symbol of their hope for a better future. As they decorated the cookies, the excitement in the air grew palpable. They imagined the faces of their neighbors lighting up with surprise and joy. With every sprinkle of colored sugar and swirl of frosting, Tom felt the heavy weight of worry start to lift. When the cookies were finally ready, Tom took a step back to admire their creations. They were a small act, but they held something bigger, a message of togetherness, joy, and courage to embrace the unknown. Do you think they'll like them? Jessie asked, biting her lip. Of course. But remember, it's not just about cookies, he replied. It's about showing them we can face the future together. As they piled the cookies onto a tray, a sudden loud rumble of thunder shook the bakery. Tom's heart raced again, not out of fear this time, but anticipation. If their meeting could channel even a fraction of the excitement they felt right now, perhaps it would quell the storm of doubt. Holding the tray steady, he turned toward Jessie, who beamed back up at him, her hope unshaken. Let us go show everyone what we've made. Just then, a loud bang at the door drew their attention. They exchanged glances, both wondering if it was more than the weather seeking to disrupt their plans. Tom's heart thumped in anticipation. Let us see who's at the door together, he murmured, gripping the tray of cookies tightly. What awaited them could either cement their hope or challenge it further. Either way, Tom knew they were ready to face whatever came next. Tom slowly approached the door, his heart pounding like the rain outside. Jessie stood beside him, her small frame buzzing with curious energy. Their breaths mingled with the warm air inside the bakery, and for a brief moment, all seemed still, just them and the promise of something new. He hesitated, but then grasped the doorknob and pulled it open. The fierce wind howled into the bakery, carrying with it a smear of wet leaves and wild shadows. And there she stood, soaked to the skin and shivering but unmistakably determined. Sarah. Tom blinked, recognizing the town's mayor. Tom. Sorry for barging in like this, she said, her voice barely audible over the storm. I heard you were here, and I had to find you. What could she possibly want? Had this storm brought more trouble? Tom's mind raced, his grip on the cookie tray tightening. What is going on? He asked, keeping his tone steady. Sarah stepped inside, shaking off droplets like a dog as she closed the door more gently. Her face was clouded with worry. I just came from Mr. Arthur's place. There's talk of closing the bakery if the new regulations go through. We need you at the town meeting now, Tom. Time stopped for a second. Tom felt as if the floor beneath him had slipped away. Closing. His bakery, the heart of the community, would vanish. He looked at Jessie, who now stood wide-eyed, uncertainty replacing her earlier enthusiasm. But we were going to give cookies to everyone, he stammered, still hopeful. We now, more than ever, they need to see your passion, Sarah interrupted, her voice urgent. We can't let fear win, Tom. You've always made people feel good. This is your time to shine. Jessie tugged on Tom's sleeve. You can do it. Show them the cookies. Show them how great change can be. The storm echoed louder, wind rattling the bakery's windows. A mix of dread and determination surged through him. This was the moment to fight for what he believed in. A tiny ember of bravery flickered to life within him. All right. Let us do this, he said, a spark igniting in his eyes. Together, they hurriedly bundled the tray of colorful cookies, the vibrant icing glistening like their shared hopes. As he turned back to Sarah, she smiled. They'll love this. Just be yourself, Tom. With Jessie in tow, they stepped back into the rain. The world outside was drenched, colors swirling in murky hues, but a flicker of light, a glow of promise seemed to chase the shadows. As they raced toward the town hall, adrenaline coursing through him, Tom thought of all those moments he had baked and shared. Each cookie was made not just with ingredients but with heart, with dreams for a community united. As they approached the building, he spotted a group of neighbors huddled together, murmuring doubts and fears. They looked up, and Tom's breath hitched. There they were, the people who had cheered for him before, ready to hear him now. Now or never, he whispered, holding the tray tightly. Stepping forward, he took a deep breath. Everyone, the rain pounded, and his heart raced. What if they didn't believe? What if this was a mistake? But just then, Jessie squeezed his hand, and he felt the strength of her belief, pure, unfiltered trust. He took another breath, preparing to pour out everything he felt, when the door swung open behind them. "What are you doing here?" A cold voice rang out, and Tom's stomach dropped, recognizing the opponent he had dreaded. Could this moment really lead to a breakthrough, or was it the beginning of the end? The tension in the air thickened, and Tom braced himself for whatever confrontation lay ahead. Tom turned slowly to face the voice, his heart pounding louder than the storm. There stood Victor, the wealthy businessman who had wielded his influence over the town like a sledgehammer. A man whose interests lay far from the warmth of cookies and community. His slick back hair glistened with rainwater, and the sharp lines of his suit contrasted with the chaos of the world outside. "What do you prefer, Tom? Selling cookies or selling your soul?" Victor smirked, his words cutting through the air like a chilling wind. A few neighbors shifted uncomfortably. Some grimaced, while others exchanged uneasy glances. Tom's stomach nodded, but he steadied his breath. He couldn't let Victor's bravado pierce his resolve. "We're here to share the best of what we have. Cookies bring people together," he shot back, his voice stronger than he felt. The vibrant colors of the sweets in his tray caught the dim light, a beacon of hope against the looming shadow of Victor. "Oh please," Victor retorted, crossing his arms. "You really think a sugar rush is going to stop progress? The regulations are happening whether you like it or not. This town needs to modernize, not cling to quaint traditions." Tom felt Jessie's hand squeeze tighter around his wrist, her little fingers trembling. But she didn't let go. Her trust shined in her wide eyes, a fuel to his flickering flames of courage. "Modernization can still happen without losing everything that makes this town special," Sarah stepped in, her tone fierce as she moved closer to Tom, shoulders squared against Victor's disdain. "We're not asking for much, only a chance to show that community is worth investing in." Victor laughed, a harsh sound that danced with the thunder rumbling above. "Community? You mean nostalgia? Don't kid yourselves. You can't compete with shiny new buildings and conveniences. Change is here, Tom. It's time to let go." His gaze bore down on Tom, a predator assessing its prey. Moved by a sudden sense of clarity, Tom straightened up. He thought of every cookie he'd baked, the joys they had sparked, the friendships they had nurtured. It wasn't nostalgia, it was life. "Maybe, Victor," he replied, his voice finding a steadier rhythm. "But life is about choices. We can choose to build new things while still nurturing the old. Closing the bakery would be throwing away years of hard work, love, and connection." The crowd began to stir, whispers of agreement rising like waves. Tom saw faces he recognized, neighbors, friends, those who had shared laughter and tears. Fear began to melt under the warmth of unity. Victor's brow furrowed, sparking an internal battle behind his eyes. There was a flicker of uncertainty, but he quickly masked it with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Fine. You want your moment? Have it," he finally said, waving a dismissive hand. "But don't say I didn't warn you when this all crumbles apart." Tom's heart raced, a cocktail of relief and adrenaline. The door had swung wide open, not just for them, but for everyone in the town. He felt Jessie's grip loosen as hope blossomed in the swirling air. Now, he turned to the neighbors, clutching the tray closer. "I need your help. Will you stand with us?" They nodded, many stepping forward, faces bright with determination. As Tom looked around, that familiar spark ignited a shared dream lighting up the room, but as he readied himself to share the joyful tales behind each cookie, he noticed Victor still lingering by the door, his expression a mask of something darker. "Tom," Victor called out, leaving a last, lingering chill in the air. "You have no idea what you're getting into." What did he mean? Had Tom truly stumbled into something bigger than he imagined? Fear dripped like rain, but exhilaration surged stronger. It was a dance on the edge of chaos, and Tom's next moves would define everything that he took a step forward, heart pounding, ready for whatever was coming next. The atmosphere in the town hall was electric, hearts pounding in synchrony with the storm outside. Tom stood at the front, holding his tray of colorful cookies as if they were his lifeline. The murmurs of the community filled the room, mixing with the tension woven between him and Victor. Tom's mind raced, pondering how to navigate these choppy waters and steer their ship towards hope instead of despair. "Everyone, thank you for being here," Tom began, his voice steady but charged with emotion. "We're at a crossroads, and what we decide today can change everything. I know things feel uncertain, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that our strength lies in each other." He looked out into the sea of familiar faces, each brimming with expectation. "I'm not just asking for your approval or support. I'm asking you to believe in what our bakery means. It's not just about pastries and coffee, it's about community warmth and shared stories. That's what we're fighting for." A ripple of murmurs spread throughout the crowd, heads nodding in agreement. He could feel the power of unity rising, stronger than the storm outside. "I understand why people are skeptical. Change is hard, it feels like losing parts of ourselves. But let us remember what we came together for in the first place." He swept his gaze across the assembly. "The laughter, the friendships, the moments of joy we've created in this space together." Jesse's eyes sparkled, reflecting his fiery commitment that in that moment, Tom could feel the energy shift, like the gusts of wind outside beginning to soften. He pressed on, "I won't lie, I've made mistakes. I've allowed my success to create distance between me and you. But I want to mend those wounds. I want to restore joy to this bakery, and I want your help to do it." Just as he thought the message was taking root, Victor interjected, his voice dripping with cynicism. "And what makes you think they'll follow you? You're a billionaire. This place is just a tax write-off for you." A palpable tension hung in the air, the storm outside matching the storm of doubts brewing inside, but Tom stood his ground, drawing strength from the voices of the community that had rallied around him. "I am more than my wealth. I am a person who has lived, who has stumbled and learned that connection is worth more than any dollar. This bakery isn't just my investment, it's South our gathering place. I refuse to let money dictate its fate." The crowd erupted into applause. Tom felt his heart swell as he saw the glimmer of hope in every face, each a testament to the bonds woven through shared laughter and baked treats. This community was not just a backdrop, they were the center stage, and together they could create a new narrative. Turning back to the cookies he'd prepared with Jesse, Tom picked one up, its icing vibrant and inviting. "Each of these cookies is a reminder of joy and togetherness. I'm here today to share this with you to make something beautiful in the face of fear." He held it high and continued, "Let us celebrate what we've built together. We can face the unknown, side by side." Then he turned to Victor, the skepticism tangible between them. "You may think we are fragile, but we will prove you wrong. We have a heart that beats stronger together, and we will not back down." With that declaration, he took a bold step forward, offering the cookie to Jesse and then to others in the crowd. "Will you join me in this fight? Will you help me bake a future filled with laughter, love, and resilience?" Nods turned into shouts of affirmation. "Yes." The room erupted into a chorus of "together," echoing off the walls. Tom's spirit soared like a kite released from its tether. Victor's visage darkened as the crowd resisted his influence. The doubts that he wielded like a sword were being turned into shields against the storm. As the meeting progressed, they shared ideas, initiatives, and plans to not only fight back against the regulations but build their community stronger, symbolized by the delicious cookies that were passed around. As conversations soared and connections rekindled, Tom felt something shift within him. For the first time in years, he was not just a billionaire, he was a part of something bigger, surrounded by love and hope. Tom realized with every heartbeat that the true essence of happiness was not in the riches he had accumulated, but in the smiles he shared, the community he cherished, and the profound sense of belonging that filled the bakery. As the meeting wrapped up, Jessie's small hand found his. "We did it, didn't we?" she said, her eyes shining brightly with excitement. Tom grinned down at her. "Yes, my little friend. We did it together." Looking around, he saw people laughing, planning, envisioning. The storm outside finally began to ease, and under the warming light of their unity, hope billowed like sails ready to set course for a new dawn. Joy flooded Tom's heart, and it dawned on him that this was just the beginning. Together, they would face whatever challenges came their way. Standing side by side, they were unstoppable, and as if answering his newfound realizations, the last remnants of the storm faded away, leaving only the promise of brighter days ahead. Now, as the story unfolds, let it be a reminder that changes can breathe new life into the world. A single smile, a shared cookie, and the power of community can conquer even the darkest of storms. So let us continue this journey together. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and spread this message. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. You need to share your thoughts. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support, because only true fans understand the importance of lifting each other up.